Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to that quiet fire inside you, the one that knows you were meant for more. Deep within each of us lies a power so great, so untapped, that it waits only for a single decision to awaken it. That decision begins the moment you choose to raise the standards you live by. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, but right now. You see, life does not give us what we want, it gives us what we are willing to accept. When you raise your standards, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming circumstances, people, or your past. You begin to demand more from yourself, not out of pride, but out of purpose. Your goals stop being hopes and start becoming expectations. This is not about arrogance or chasing perfection. It's about deciding that who you are today is not the limit of who you can become. It's about stepping out of the comfortable and into the extraordinary. Your destiny changes the moment your standards do, and that moment is now. There exists a quiet yet undeniable truth that governs every life, every destiny, and every level of success or failure. That truth is this: your life, as it stands today, is the exact reflection of what you have chosen to tolerate. Whether it is mediocrity, toxic relationships, financial struggle, or even the stagnation of your dreams, it has been allowed to exist because of the standards you have set, or failed to set, for yourself. Understand this well. Standards are not wishes, nor are they casual preferences. They are the unshakable rules by which you live your life. They are the lines in the sand, the boundaries you refuse to cross or allow others to cross. They are not shouted to the world, but whispered within, repeated to the soul until they take root and become law in your behavior, your choices, and your outcomes. If you look around and see a life filled with compromise, frustration, and unfulfilled desires, it is not because the world has conspired against you. It is because at some point you decided to settle for less. You permitted habits that weaken you. You allowed people to treat you in ways that contradict your worth. You accepted jobs, relationships, routines, and excuses that dim your spirit rather than elevate it. The great tragedy is not in failing. It is in tolerating failure as a final destination. You were never created to simply endure life. You were made to shape it, mold it, command it. And the starting point of that command is the standard you set for who you will be and what you will accept. When you raise your standards, you do more than wish for change. You ignite it. You begin to speak differently, walk differently, act differently. You surround yourself with different people. You look at your goals with fire in your eyes and say, this is not a maybe, this is a must. And life, though it may resist at first, begins to bend. Doors open. Opportunities emerge. Strength rises from within that you didn't know was there. Let us be clear. Raising your standards does not guarantee instant victory. It guarantees struggle. But it is a noble struggle. A struggle that shapes you, tests you, and purifies you. The journey from tolerating the unacceptable to demanding excellence is not for the faint of heart. It is for the bold, the committed, the ones who have looked at their reflection and said, enough. You must become ruthless with what you allow into your world. Say no to distractions, to energy-draining habits, to people who pull you down rather than push you forward. Say no to the voice in your head that tells you to play small, stay safe, or wait for permission. You were born with the ability to choose, and with that choice comes the power to raise your standards. Start small if you must. Demand more of your time, your health, your focus. Take back control of your mornings. Speak your goals aloud. Write them down. Live as though they are already yours. Not because of arrogance, but because your standards no longer allow anything less. Those who live by high standards are often misunderstood. They are told they are too intense, too ambitious, too focused. Let them say it. Let them talk. While they watch from the sidelines, you will be rising. Not because life handed it to you, but because you demanded it from yourself first. Do not confuse comfort with happiness. Comfort is the enemy of growth, the silent killer of dreams. High standards, on the other hand, create pressure. But it is this very pressure that forms diamonds. It is this pressure that reveals your strength, builds your character, and ultimately changes your results. There will come a day when you look back at the life you built, And in that moment, you will see clearly it was not luck that brought you there. It was not chance or talent alone. It was a decision, a relentless, unwavering decision to no longer tolerate anything that contradicted the life you knew you were meant to live. So take inventory of your world. Look closely at what you've been tolerating, what you've been settling for, and then make the choice, the same choice that all great men and women have made, to raise your standards and never lower them again. Not for comfort, not for approval, not even for temporary relief. The moment you change what you are willing to tolerate, the moment you stop accepting excuses, that is the very moment your life begins to shift. Not someday, not when the timing is right, but the very instant you decide that you are done with average and committed to excellence. For in the end, the power of your standards will determine the power of your life. And the greatest victory is not in reaching the peak, but in refusing to live below it ever again. The greatest journey a person can ever take is not across lands or oceans, but within, the journey from limitation to liberation, from doubt to belief, from complacency to courage. This transformation begins not with circumstances, not with the opinions of others, and not with luck. It begins in the one place you hold complete and sovereign control, your mind. Before any man or woman can rise in wealth, in relationships, in influence, or in peace of soul, they must first rise in thought. Everything you now experience, from the shoes on your feet to the burdens on your back, began first in thought. Whether you believe it or not, your current life is a mirror of your mindset. The invisible has become the visible, and what you once tolerated in your mind has become law in your reality. When people say life is hard, what they often mean is their mindset has not yet adapted to the challenge. It is not life that is cruel. It is the lack of belief that paralyzes potential. It is not fate that keeps you stuck. It is a mind left untrained, undisciplined, and weakened by years of fear, excuses, and doubt. And so the first and most critical step to changing your life is this. You must upgrade your mindset. To upgrade is to rise. To upgrade is to discard the outdated and install the exceptional. You were not born to live with the same thoughts that failed you yesterday. You were born to think in alignment with your future, not your past. And if your future is great, then your thoughts must rise to match it. You must think higher, speak bolder, act sharper. A mind left adrift will always sink into mediocrity. It will entertain the worst scenarios. It will magnify weakness. It will settle. But a mind trained with intention, fed with truth, and disciplined with courage becomes a weapon for success. It becomes the force that moves mountains, builds empires, and brings peace when the storm rages loudest. Look at those who have changed the world, not the privileged or the lucky, but the determined. They did not begin with tools or applause. They began with a shift in thought. They looked at the impossible and said, "I will make it so." They upgraded their mindset not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. They saw that before anything could change around them, something had to change within them. Do you want to change your life? Then speak to your mind as a general speaks to an army. Train it, command it, guard it. Your mind is your most sacred property, yet many allow it to be occupied by doubt, fear, opinions, and failure. Would you allow a stranger to live in your home and insult you daily? Then why allow thoughts that belittle your future to remain in your mind? Your thoughts are builders. Each one lays a brick in the house of your destiny. Negative thoughts build walls around your progress. Fearful thoughts build doors that lock from the inside. But elevated thoughts, thoughts rooted in purpose, in vision, in faith, they build bridges, towers, and pathways to levels others only dream of. Do not wait for others to lift you. Do not wait for validation. The world responds to the person who has first convinced themselves. The moment you believe in your worth, your power, your vision, the world will begin to shape itself in your favor. But it must begin with you, and it must begin in your mind. Understand this well. Nothing outside of you will change until something inside of you does. No new job, no perfect relationship, no sudden opportunity will sustain itself if your mindset remains anchored in fear and limitation. People can take your possessions. Life can test your strength. But no one, not fate, not failure, not even time, can control the thoughts you choose to dwell upon, and in those thoughts lies your future. To upgrade your mindset is to become intentional about your inner world. It means no longer allowing old beliefs to rule a new chapter. It means declaring that the person you were yesterday has no authority over the person you are becoming today. It means feeding your mind the truth, even when the facts scream otherwise. Read daily, speak affirmations, surround yourself with thinkers. Question every belief that makes you small. And above all, never allow failure to define you. It is only a lesson, a tool for strengthening the mind. A changed mindset does not mean all problems vanish, but it does mean you meet them with power, not panic, with wisdom, not worry. It means you begin to attract people, situations, and ideas that align with your growth. What once seemed impossible becomes expected. What once held you back now teaches you how to move forward with greater force. Your mindset is the soil, and your life is the harvest. Plant limitation, and you will reap struggle. Plant faith, discipline, and vision, and you will reap abundance in time. Not always on your timeline, but always in the right season. Do not be surprised if, as your mindset elevates, your circle begins to shift. People who loved the old you may fear the new you. That is the price of rising. Not all will understand your discipline, your hunger, or your refusal to settle. Let them go with grace, but never lower your thoughts to fit their expectations. There is no arrival point in growth. Your mindset will need daily renewal, just as your body needs rest and food. Protect your mind from the poison of gossip, distraction, and laziness. These are weeds that grow quickly if left unchecked. Instead, fill your mind with purpose. Let it be so full of vision that fear has no room to stay. One day, you will stand on the peak of a life you once only imagined. And when you do, you will know it was not your talent alone, not your education, not your background that brought you there. It was your decision to upgrade the thoughts that built the life you now live. That is the beginning of every transformation. That is the secret held not in books or speeches, but in the quiet decision made in the privacy of your own mind. So make that decision now, not tomorrow, not after the fear fades. Now. The life you seek begins the moment you upgrade the way you think. And when you do, the world has no choice but to rise to meet you. There comes a defining moment in every person's life when they must look in the mirror and ask themselves not just what they want from life, but who they are willing to become to. Achieve it. It is not enough to wish for success, for health, for love, or peace of mind. The universe does not respond to vague desires. It responds to clarity, to conviction, and above all, to identity. Your life as it stands today is the reflection not only of your habits, but of your deepest self-image, your standards. And when you raise your standards, you do more than change your behavior. You change your identity. The world teaches us to look outward for change. We seek new jobs, new relationships, new surroundings. But all true transformation begins within. The person you believe yourself to be dictates every choice you make, every risk you avoid, every goal you pursue or abandon. If you identify as average, you will accept mediocrity. If you see yourself as a failure, you will sabotage your success. But when you decide that your standards are no longer negotiable, that excellence is the only path, that integrity is not optional, that health is sacred, that wealth is deserved, then your identity begins to evolve. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. And those standards are built on your beliefs about yourself. If your standards are low, it is because you have allowed yourself to believe that you are worth less. Not consciously, perhaps, but somewhere deep within, you have agreed to tolerate less than what you are capable of. And whatever you tolerate, you endorse. When you raise your standards, you are not pretending to be someone else. You are returning to your true self. You are shedding the lies the world has convinced you to wear, that you are not enough, that your past defines you, that your failures disqualify you. No, your past is not your prison. It is your platform. Your failures are not a curse. They are your curriculum. And your true identity is not something you find. It is something you decide. You see, every great transformation in history, in business, in personal achievement, in the soul of a human being begins with a declaration, I will no longer live this way. That declaration is the ignition. It is the moment the old self begins to fade and a new identity takes root. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. Your identity is shaped by your standards, and your standards are expressed through your habits. Do you wake up early, or do you snooze until life forces you out of bed? Do you read daily, or do you waste your time on distractions? Do you demand honesty in your relationships, or do you tolerate deceit and disrespect? Each of these choices may seem small in the moment, but together they build the architecture of your character. And character is destiny. You do not become successful and then adopt the habits of a successful person. You adopt the habits of a successful person, and over time you become one. You do not wait until you feel motivated to eat healthy or exercise or build your business. You do it because your standards demand it. You no longer ask yourself whether you feel like doing what needs to be done. You do it because it is who you are now. The moment you raise your standards, the question shifts from should I to how could I not? This shift is not always comfortable. In fact, it is often painful. Growth requires discomfort. Transformation demands sacrifice. You must let go of the old story you've told yourself, the excuses, the blame, the identity that clings to your fears. And those around you may not understand. They may resist your new standards because your evolution threatens their comfort. Let them. You are not here to remain who you were for the sake of pleasing those who refuse to rise. When your standards rise, your environment begins to shift. You no longer tolerate toxic energy. You distance yourself from gossip, from laziness, from anyone who encourages the habits that once held you back. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and outcomes that match the frequency of your new identity. Not by chance, but by design. The voice within you that says you are meant for more. It is not lying. That voice is your highest self calling you to remember who you were before the world taught you to settle. You were born to lead, to create, to overcome, to serve, to love, and to thrive. But the door to that life is not unlocked by hope. It is unlocked by decision. The decision to raise your standards and never lower them again. This is not a momentary burst of motivation. It is a lifelong vow, a vow that says, from this moment forward, I will live in alignment with who I truly am, not who I was told to be, not who I feared I was, but who I choose to become. You do not have to wait for a new year, a new season, or a perfect time. The moment you decide, the moment you fully commit, your identity begins to shift. And when your identity changes, your life follows. Decide now that your standards are sacred. Decide that your life is too valuable to waste on anything that contradicts your purpose. Walk like someone who respects their time. Speak like someone who knows their worth. Act like someone whose future depends on what they do today, because it does. The path will not be easy, but it will be worth it. And as you rise, others will rise too. Not because you told them to, but because your example gave them permission to do the same. Your life becomes a testament, a living blueprint for what is possible when one person decides to raise their standards and step into their true identity. So ask yourself, what do I truly want? Who must I become to claim it? And what must I never again accept in my life? Because when you change your standards, you change your habits. When you change your habits, you change your identity. And when you change your identity, you change your life forever. There is a line, invisible yet unmistakable, that separates the average from the exceptional. This line is not drawn by talent alone, nor by wealth, education, or circumstance. It is drawn by a force far more powerful and far more accessible to every human being alive, the expectations one holds of oneself. Average is where most reside, not because they are incapable of more, but because they have accepted the illusion that more is not available to them. They believe life is meant to be endured, not elevated. They confuse comfort with fulfillment, routine with destiny. But the truth is this: every individual, regardless of background or resources, holds within themselves the power to cross that line. To go from average to exceptional requires not permission from others, but a decision from within. That decision begins with elevated expectations. Expectations are the thermostat of your life. Whatever you expect of yourself, whether consciously or not, determines the temperature at which you operate. If you expect mediocrity, that is precisely what you will produce and attract. If you expect struggle, your mind will subconsciously seek out ways to confirm that reality. But if you begin to expect greatness, not with arrogance but with conviction, your actions, habits, and results will rise to meet that new demand. You must understand, the world will never give you more than what you believe you deserve. And most people never receive the abundance available to them, not because it is hidden, but because they are blind to it through the lens of low expectations. To go from average to exceptional, you must first believe that exceptional is your rightful place. Not because someone told you so, but because your spirit confirms it when you dare to listen. The average man waits to feel ready. He hesitates, calculates, procrastinates. He measures his dreams against the approval of others and the fear of failure. But the exceptional man does not wait. He moves. He moves when it's uncomfortable. He moves when he's unsure. He moves because he knows that his potential will never be unlocked in safety. It will be revealed only through challenge and the courageous pursuit of more. You are not meant to merely survive the day. You are meant to shape it, to direct it, to bend it to your will through discipline, intention, and relentless expectation. Those who achieve greatness do not stumble upon it. They demand it, not from the world, but from themselves. Their standards become sacred. Their time becomes precious. Their energy becomes focused. And their vision becomes clear, even when the path is not. Average asks, what do I have to do today? Exceptional asks, what can I become today? The average mind is satisfied with what is. The exceptional mind is obsessed with what could be. It refuses to allow yesterday's success or failure to define today's opportunity. It knows that every single day holds the potential for mastery. And mastery is not reserved for the elite. It is earned by the consistent application of elevated expectations. You must understand that raising your expectations is not simply about setting bigger goals. It is about redefining what is acceptable to you. It means you no longer tolerate laziness, excuses, or delay, not from others and not from yourself. It means you no longer associate with habits that weaken you, people who drain you, or environments that keep you small. It means you live as though your future depends on every choice you make, because it does. To expect more from yourself is not a burden, it is liberation. It frees you from the chains of what others think you should be. It frees you from the lies of limitation. It frees you from the smallness that tries to keep you in a place of sameness. When you elevate your expectations, you give yourself permission to rise. And in rising, you inspire others to do the same. Look around you. Look closely. Every building, every invention, every piece of greatness that shapes the world was first shaped by someone who expected more. Someone who looked at what was and believed in what could be. Someone who did not settle for average when excellence was within reach. That same fire lives in you. It may be dimmed by time, by fear, by hardship, but it is not extinguished. It can be reignited by one powerful decision. I will no longer live by low expectations. This is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. It is about waking up with purpose and going to bed with peace, knowing that you gave the day your full self. It is about saying, I will no longer tolerate half effort, half truth, or half life. Because the moment you accept anything less than your highest capacity, you begin to betray the gift that lives inside you. The path from average to exceptional is not crowded. It is walked by those who are willing to be misunderstood, doubted, and even ridiculed for a time. But they press forward because their vision is not dependent on the approval of the world. It is fueled by the fire of expectation. They know that pain is temporary, but pride in their pursuit will last a lifetime. You are not average. You never were. You may have acted like it. You may have surrounded yourself with it. You may have believed it. But deep inside, you know it's not who you are. And now you must decide, will you continue to live below your calling, or will you elevate your expectations and rise? This is the turning point. Not a motivational moment, but a decision, a vow, a line in the sand that says, From this day forward, I will demand more of myself. I will no longer ask for easy. I will ask for growth. I will not wait for inspiration. I will create it. I will expect greatness, and I will act accordingly. The world will respond to the level you set. Set it low, and you will be invisible. Set it high, and though the climb may be steep, the view will be worth every step. From average to exceptional is not a path for the many, but it is open to all. And for those who dare to walk it, there is no going back. Only forward, only up, only onward, toward a life worthy of the greatness you were born to fulfill. Every man's life is shaped not by what he desires, but by what he accepts. Desires are many, and nearly every soul walking this earth hungers for more. More success, more peace, more love, more wealth, more meaning. Yet, despite these desires, only a few rise to live a life that reflects them. Why? Because most do not get what they dream of. They get what they settle for. There is a quiet yet deadly force that keeps people stuck in mediocrity. It does not shout or scream, it whispers. It tells you, this is good enough. It says, at least you're not worse off. It convinces you that your current job, though draining, is better than the risk of chasing your purpose. It tells you that your current relationship, though loveless, is better than being alone. It persuades you that safety is better than growth. That comfort is more important than contribution. This voice is the voice of compromise. And compromise, when it concerns your potential, is the graveyard of greatness. A man does not fall into mediocrity overnight. He drifts into it, one excuse at a time, one delay at a time, one tolerated standard at a time. He tells himself he will start that business next year. He will get in shape after things settle down. He will speak his truth once the time is right. But the truth is, life never settles, the perfect time never arrives, and someday is the favorite word of those who settle. Look around you. How many live lives that reflect their true capacity? How many walk with fire in their spirit, purpose in their actions, and peace in their hearts? Very few. Not because it is impossible, but because it is inconvenient. The masses choose convenience over calling. They choose the familiar over the fulfilling. They choose to settle, and in doing so, they forfeit everything they might have been. You were not born to settle. No child comes into this world thinking small. Children dream in castles, in stars, in worlds without limits. But slowly, society teaches them to shrink. They are told to be realistic, to stop asking for too much, to be grateful for crumbs while their soul was built for a feast. Gratitude is essential, but it is not the same as settling. Gratitude says, I am thankful for what I have. Settling says, I guess this is all I'll ever get. There is a vast difference. You must be grateful, yes, but never complacent. Gratitude without growth becomes a prison. You were designed to evolve, to expand, to ascend, not to stay small in the name of gratitude. Every time you accept less than what you're worth, you teach the world how to treat you. You say, this is okay. You say, I am willing to live beneath my power. And life will always give you what you tolerate, not what you cry for, not what you post about, not what you wish for, what you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, you will be disrespected. If you tolerate laziness in yourself, you will remain stagnant. If you tolerate fear, it will rule your choices. But the moment you decide, truly decide, that you will settle no more, everything begins to change. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer accept the job that drains your soul. You seek out the work that aligns with your purpose. You no longer entertain relationships that take more than they give. You surround yourself with people who see you, challenge you, and support you. You stop saying maybe one day and start saying day one, because life will not wait for you to become ready. It will pass you by if you let it. And every moment you settle, you delay the life that is trying to reach you. The man who thrives is not necessarily the most talented. He is the one who refused to settle. He saw the same limitations others did, but he did not surrender to them. He encountered fear, doubt, delay, but he did not let them anchor him. He set a new standard. He drew a line in the sand and said, this is where average ends. This is where greatness begins. You must do the same. You must get angry, yes, angry at the idea of staying the same. That fire in your belly is not bitterness. It is the beginning of transformation. Let it burn. Let it move you to action. Use it to tear down the walls of your comfort zone and build a new standard in its place. Do not wait for permission. No one is coming to save you. No boss, no partner, no guru, no government can give you what you will not give yourself. And what you give yourself is not found in words, it is found in decisions. Decide that you will no longer accept a life of survival. Decide that thriving is your new baseline, not in comparison to others, but in alignment with your own calling. This means you must become a guardian of your standards. Protect your time, protect your energy. Protect your dreams. Say no when it matters. Say yes when it's terrifying. Push yourself when you feel tired. Rest when you need clarity. Keep showing up when no one applauds. Keep believing when the evidence is invisible. You are building something far greater than a moment. You are building a legacy. And let me tell you, a man who thrives is not always the loudest in the room. Sometimes he is the one quietly choosing discipline over distraction, vision over validation, growth over gossip. Thriving is not about always being seen. It's about always moving forward. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you are not stuck. You are being challenged to rise. And with each step away from settling, and each step toward your highest self, life will begin to reward you. New opportunities will appear. New energy will flood your days. New people will find their way into your life, not because you chased them, but because you became someone they are drawn to. This is the law of elevation. As you rise, the world rises with you. As your standards increase, so does your reality. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You do not need more time. You need a stronger standard. You need to look in the mirror and say, I will no longer live beneath what I know I'm capable of. I will no longer trade my power for approval. I will no longer wait for someday. I was not made to settle. I was made to thrive. And from that decision, everything changes. So now the choice is yours. You can continue settling, living beneath your potential, or you can draw the line today and say, no more. Raise your standards and life will rise to meet you. Refuse to accept less than what your soul knows you deserve. This is your moment to evolve, to demand more from yourself, to stop surviving and start thriving. Don't wait for change. Be the change. Speak it, live it, become it. Because once you change what you're willing to accept, everything else begins to shift. Your future is waiting. Step into it with power, purpose, and conviction.